The British Army has made many mistakes throughout history, but has always learned from them. That's what most people believe, but that's not right, because history tells a very different story. Time and time again, the same deadly mistakes keep coming back, and the worst part, it may still be happening today. In this video we're breaking down 3 big mistakes the British Army has made, the disaster they caused, and why history might be repeating itself right now. Welcome back to the war. It's one of the oldest mistakes in warfare, assuming the enemy is weaker, slower, less capable. And in 1879 that assumption would prove catastrophic. At the Battle of Isandlwana, British forces faced an opponent they believed they could easily defeat. The Zulu warriors were seen as outdated, poorly equipped, no match for modern rifles and discipline. But that confidence came at a cost. Because what happened next wasn't just a defeat, it was a shock that sent ripples through the entire British Empire. Over 20,000 Zulu warriors used speed, coordination and sheer aggression to overwhelm British positions. The defensive line collapsed, units were isolated, and within hours it was over. More than 1,300 British troops were killed. Between 1,000 and 3,000 Zulu warriors were killed. It remains one of the worst defeats in British military history, which also happened on a solar eclipse. So how does a professional army lose to what it thought was an inferior force? Simple. They didn't adapt. They didn't take the threat seriously enough, and by the time they realised the danger, it was already too late. But underestimating the enemy wasn't the one-off mistake. In fact, it would happen again, on a much larger scale. If you've ever wondered about your grandparents' or great-grandparents' military careers, I am offering limited spaces on our Military Legacy programme. Comment Legacy below and I'll send you the details. Fast forward to World War II. The British Empire was still one of the most powerful forces on earth, and in Southeast Asia they believed they had an unbreakable stronghold. That place was Singapore. At the fall of Singapore, British forces were confident. They had more troops, stronger defensive positions, and what they believed was a superior navy. There was just one problem. They were preparing for the wrong kind of war. The British expected a naval assault, an attack from the sea, but the Japanese did something unexpected. They attacked through the jungle. Using speed, surprise, and relentless pressure, Japanese forces advanced rapidly. British troops were outmanoeuvred, outpaced, and completely caught off guard. The defences that were supposed to protect Singapore, they were facing the wrong direction. Within days, the situation collapsed. Tens of thousands of troops were captured, 5,000 killed and wounded. The Japanese lost 1,700 men, with approximately 3,000 wounded. It was one of the most humiliating defeats in British military history. Different war, different enemy, same core mistake, and it didn't stop there. Sometimes it's not the enemy, it's the decisions made under pressure, and few moments show this more clearly than the charge of the Light Brigade in 1854, also known as the charge into the Valley of Death. This wasn't just a bad call, it was deadly misunderstanding. A miscommunication led British cavalry to charge directly into heavily defended Russian artillery positions. They weren't supposed to attack head-on, but the order was unclear, and in the chaos of battle, it was followed anyway. What followed was inevitable. Cavalry rode straight into concentrated fire, cannons, rifles, no cover, no chance. The result? Heavy casualties, minimal strategic gain, in a moment that would go down in history as a symbol of courage, but also of failure. 110 were killed, 161 were wounded. So by now a pattern is starting to emerge, but here's where things get more uncomfortable. War has changed, technology has advanced, the battlefield looks very different today, but human decision making, that hasn't changed nearly as much, and that means the same mistakes are always one step away from happening again. Underestimating the enemy, overconfidence in technology, poor decisions under pressure. There aren't just historical problems, they're human problems. Modern militaries, including the British Army, train constantly
The real
to
shock
avoid
is
these failures.
discipline.
But no system is
Not
perfect.
just being told what to do,
No intelligence is
but
complete.
how to do it, when
And
to
no
do
one
it,
plan
and why
survives
it
first
matters.
contact with the enemy.
You don't walk anymore.
So the real
you
question
march.
isn't whether these mistakes
You don't
can
speak
happen
freely.
again.
You respond
whether
correctly.
They already are.
It's not about control
Because across
for the
modern
sake of it.
conflicts we've seen
It's about
familiar
building
patterns.
instinct.
Forces
Because in
surprised
combat,
by
hesitation
tactics
gets
they
people
didn't
killed.
expect.
And
Bigger
here's
nations
something most people
fighting
don't
against
realise.
smaller ones,
Physical
like
fitness
Russia and Ukraine.
isn't the biggest challenge in week
Advanced
one.
equipment struggling against simpler, adaptive strategies. Decisions made under pressure
Having every part of
lead
your
to
day
unintended
controlled.
consequences.
Because right here, in
History
week one,
doesn't repeat
the army is
itself
already
exactly,
testing something
but it rhymes.
deeper than strength.
And in warfare,
But this
those
is
rhymes
just the
can be
surface.
deadly.
Because what comes
The British Army's biggest mistake isn't one single event, it's a pattern, a cycle, one that has appeared again and again throughout history. And if history has taught us anything, it's that recognising the mistake is one thing, stopping it from happening again, that's completely different. Because the next conflict might not look the way anyone expects. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more British military blunders, let us know in the comments. And if you want to understand how modern warfare is evolving, watch our video on the British Army's preparations in Estonia. Hi soldiers, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comments, and check out our merchant membership programs.
And don't forget to comment legacy for your family's military history.
And don't forget to check back in again soon. That's an order.